Our lead story, the big event in Washington commemorating the 50th anniversary of Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech. Joining us from New Orleans with reaction, Democratic strategist James Carville. So even you have to admit that that was probably the most brilliant 8 minutes of television you have ever heard in your life. Was it not? Was it
You know what? Honestly, I'm watching Fox, and President Clinton, President Obama did such a good job. It really made me proud to be a Democrat. That our last two presidents were so articulate, and I think gave terrific speeches today. And I got to give you credit. I think you gave President Obama a good ride in terms of what he said. And
well, we're fair on his analysis, but wasn't it a little strange we didn't have one black conservative or one black Republican? I mean, did the invitations get lost in the mail or what?
Well, first of all, I'll be honest with you. I tried to. I don't know who put it on or who invited.
NAACP put it on in association with some other liberal groups.
Yeah, you know, the former president's speaking, I think, was appropriate. I'm
Is
sure
that George W. Bush and a former president?
Well, he issued a statement. I do not know that he wasn't invited. Was he invited? Okay, I have no idea why he invited.
No Republicans and no conservatives.
If it would have been me, I would have certainly invited President George
Okay, so
W. Bush.
you see that was a mistake because look, if as the congressman said at the end, we're all in the same boat. Well, where's the conservative side of that boat?
Again, if it were me, I would have invited President Bush, but I didn't control it.
Did I go wrong any place there in that memo?
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't think it's political at all to point out the fact that the wealth gap is not substantially improved at all. In fact, it's not very good. And I don't think some of the fact that we need to do something about the middle class, I wrote an entire book about that. I think that's more factual than it is anything else.
I'm not saying it's not factual. I'm saying that the policies that they're instituting aren't helping that. In fact, they're making it worse. The government can't run the private sector. It can't.
Well, I don't know if they're trying to do that. And I think that this problem is a result of a nasty recession that was brought on by the financial sector and excessive leverage and excessive risk-taking. I think that's what really
Okay, but that's in the past. We're 5 years away from that now.
Well, I know.
And we were promised a new vision and a new economic program that was going to lift all boats, and it's failed. Let's face it. It hasn't worked. It's not going to work.
Well, I think we've had some improvement, but these financial recessions
we haven't had any
nasty.
improvement.
Well, sure,
Median income is down. Black unemployment is up. There hasn't been any improvement.
Well, sure. I mean, the job sector, we've had some growth. We were losing 750,000 jobs a month.
That's for everybody. You're talking about middle-class working Americans. Wait, Charles.
Okay, go ahead.
Wait. Let's be clear. There has been no improvement for working Americans and black Americans in the economic precincts. None. It's gotten worse.
I would. In January '09 compared to now, I think that the number of African Americans that were losing their jobs was substantially higher.
Look at the unemployment rate's double of white America. It's double. There's no improvement.
It hasn't doubled since Obama took office. Not the unemployment rate.
No, but it hasn't improved. Look, the word is it hasn't improved.
Well, wait a minute. You said double. Now you're arguing improved. No. And it hasn't. The unemployment rate has improved.
What's the matter with you? Carville did today. The black unemployment rate is double that of whites, and it hasn't improved under President Obama's administration.
Right. Again, when he took office, if you look at the job, we can argue this, whatever, but I agree completely that we had a recession that was very nasty, caused by risk-taking and leverage. And these things take a long time to crawl out of.
Right.
I would have preferred something else.
I would like to see a strategy. You see, you're a sports fan. You got the little Saint helmet behind you. All right, when the new coach comes in and he says, I'm going to be turning around, we're going to be winning, how many years you give him? 3, 4, 5? I mean, come on.
Look,
you got to have improvement. You got to see it. It's not happening.
Let me
not happening.
We've had the unemployment rate has come down. The fact that
not
the borrowing
for black Americans,
the deficit is coming down.
Right.
You know, these things are very deep, and that the poor people tend to be the people that recover later.
Because the poor people have the fewest skills in general. Well, and that's the problem. See, there hasn't been a micro light or laser shined on the poor precincts to say, this is what you need to do to succeed. It's all about grievances and past stuff.
You know,
and even you're going into the past. Oh, it's the recession.
I'm not going into the past. I'm living in a city where we've doubled the number of African-American students who are performing at the state average.
That's because you've gone to charter schools and away from public schools.
People are doing real things. And we got a terrific, hard-working young scholars here. And I think we got to give these guys credit.
You're going against your own party's orthodoxy. The reason that education in New Orleans is rising is because you dumped out of the public school system and went to charter schools. This is what the Democratic Party fights against that.
The biggest supporter we have is the Secretary of Education, Orrin Duncan, who is supported by President Obama.
Look, you just have a lawsuit filed by the Justice Department against Louisiana for giving scholarships and vouchers to students.
These are vouchers going to schools teaching creationism and stuff. That don't get me started on that.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to the general theme that President Obama did, to his credit, all right, lay out a vision that you got to get away from the grievance industry. However, you heard the first soundbite. There he is, white sheets and now white collars. When is that stuff going to stop? When is it going to stop?
You know, by and large, we got some terrific. I think President Obama is in terms of a model for African Americans or for anybody, for a family man. He's terrific in the image he presents. We got terrific mayors out there. Mayor Reed in Atlanta, Mayor Brown in Jacksonville, Mayor Nutter, Mayor Booker, Governor Duval. I mean, there are tons of young people that are coming up.
You're avoiding my question. I know there are terrific people in the Democratic Party. You had a speaker, all right, Morrell, a big shot, who comes in with the grievance lit. Here it is. Here it is. White collars and replaced white sheets, and it's all bad. The country's bad. Blah, blah, blah. When is that going to stop?
Well, but you listen to the former president and the current president give uplifting, terrific speeches, and you want to spend your time on what the first speaker said.
No, I want a balanced approach. I think we give credit and we criticize.
I agree with you. I like what President Obama and President Clinton said much more than what this guy said. But, you know, everybody's got a point of view, and the guy laid his out. I don't think his point of view is a point of view that's a dominant point of view across this country.
I hope not.
And I don't think it's the kind of people that African Americans
There's a lot of it still going on.